On this episode of Street Rat Garage, a 1974 big block 454 that's been sitting underneath a bench for 20 years. Will it run? So this is about a 1974 Chevy 454 engine. The story goes a local racing team bought some station wagons to do their parts hauling, and they special ordered it with a 454 backed by a 4-speed manual transmission, which I do not have the transmission, but it would have made for a good combination anyway. The car got parted out, and what happens to a lot of engines is it got shoved underneath somebody's workbench for about 20 years. The car was parted out in late 90s, early 2000s. So we're going to call it 23 years sitting underneath somebody's bench. Now, the plugs are still in it. I'm not sure if it was covered up. It was set on a wooden cart. So this is going to be, hopefully, our project engine for our 1969 Chevy Chevelle that we are going to take on Hot Rod Power Tour this year. So I'm going to do something a little bit different in this video, and we are going to do a revival on an engine instead of a whole car. I want to make sure that this is running and is going to be reliable for Power Tour this year, because it's going to be all the way down in Georgia. That's about 8 hours away just to start the Power Tour. So we're definitely going to need something that's going to make it. Let's bring you in here a little closer and have a look. So we got a lot of oil here, a lot on the front, a lot on the bottom, a lot on the oil pan, which is not uncommon, especially we're retaining the original valve covers, and we could be retaining the original valve cover gasket. So all of this oil may have just come from the valve cover gasket leaking out. So we're gonna have to clean it up to figure out where the oil is coming from. But first thing we need to do, we need a distributor. That's no big deal. We need a flywheel. And then probably before we crank it over, we should check the condition of the cylinders. So we should pull out the spark plugs, maybe do a compression test after we get the flywheel and stuff on, but definitely going to pop out the spark plugs and check them out, see what kind of damage may or may not have been done, see if they're in good condition. So let's get started on that. All right, let's take some of these spark plugs out for the first time in 20 plus years and have a look and see what kind of condition they are in. Hopefully we don't find any crushed ones. That would be bad. So it's a green AC, green leveled AC Delco spark plug, so you know it's old. They don't make them green anymore, but the electrode looks really good. It looks nice, maybe just a touch rich, but better than being all tan and crumbly, all that good stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and pop the rest of these out, all 8 of them, and then we'll go through them and have a look. Okay, all the plugs are out. These are the even, these are the odd banks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They all look pretty much the same. This is 2 that we looked at the first time. This is 1. I mean, they all are firing almost exactly the same, so we shouldn't have any issues anywhere. There's a little bit of oil on the threads of this one, but that could just be fluid dripping down out of the head gasket, the valve cover gasket. But all these, they look fine. Just a little bit rich, No big deal. Next up, we're gonna go ahead and put a ratchet on it and make sure she turns over nice and smooth. It felt just a tad crunchy on that first, but it went easy. See, I felt a little something. Obviously there's a ring ridge right there. I'm gonna turn this over nice and slow. See, I felt another one. It's like every time a piston comes up. There's a ring ridge. Now it's going away. There's one. I heard a little squeak too. Actually, that's just compression stroke. Yeah, not bad, but there is a ring ridge on those pistons and I can feel it when I turn it. So we're gonna go get probably a little Marvel mystery oil, put in those cylinders and let that lube up a little bit. Okay, just got back from the store, got some Marvel's mystery oil. Marvel's mystery oil. It's not a mystery. The ingredients are right there, but you're supposed to say it's a mystery. It's just marketing. So put some in a little can here, and we're gonna spray it in all of the cylinders. I'm just gonna hit it a little bit in all of the cylinders. I mean, you see a lot of guys just pour this stuff in, like a ton of it, and then they spin the engine around and it all falls out on the floor. Well, this stuff is 13 bucks a bottle, so we're just gonna use what we need. Come over here to the other side, a couple squirts in each cylinder. And then all that I'm going to do is give it a few more spins. Work that mystery oil in all the nooks and crannies. It's already starting to feel way better. Not getting that crunchy sound, and it's starting to get a whole lot smoother. It's not stuttering or anything like that. Trying to stop a little bit, but give a few good turns, and that it's going to get on all of that surface area. So that's it on the Marvel mystery oil. I also went and picked up a set of new spark plugs. We're going to throw those back in after we let this mystery oil sit overnight. I'll shoot one more time all the way around. It's already getting late in the evening, so I started this a little bit late, so we're running out of daylight outside. So I need the distributor. I have a distributor up there. I need the flywheel. I got to find my big block flywheel. The big block flywheel is up there in Street Rat Garage Worldwide headquarters, about an hour from here, so I'm gonna have to drive up there and pick that up too. So we definitely need the flywheel in order to crank the engine around. I forgot to bring it with me, but that's okay. I'll go get it, and then we'll drop the distributor in, put the flywheel on. Don't let me forget to check the oil. Better do that now. Does it have oil in it? Oh man, it's just barely on the stick right there. So should we just go ahead and change the oil, or I don't know. It doesn't go back in very good. Okay, well, we'll leave that out so it reminds us that we need oil. Actually, we'll just put it right here. We'll just stick that straight in the top, and then we won't forget about the oil situation. We don't hardly have any. Oil, distributor, flywheel. We can use these for now or pick up some new ones. We have a fuel pump down here that doesn't look very good. Oh, I think I have a fuel pump. Write that down too. Fuel pump up in Street Rat Garage headquarters. And what else do we need? I don't know. So I'm gonna make a list, get all that stuff, come back tomorrow, and we'll see if we can get this fired up. I am back, and I have the flywheel. This flywheel is SFI certified. and I bought it probably 20 years ago. Looks like it's, let's see, April of '99 it looks like. So 23 years ago, at least that's the certification on this. So 20 something years ago I bought this flywheel. I never used it. I was going to build a big block, and I bought the flywheel, and then I got distracted and I put it on a shelf for 20 years. But hey, 20 years later I have it, and I don't throw things away. I'm not sure if that's good or bad to be a hoarder like that. Anyway, let's get this in the air, bolt it on, and then distributor. Okay, got it lifted up in the air, and if you can see here, it's got this homemade little wooden engine crate thing, engine storage stand, whatever you want to call it. But it's like somebody just cut with a grinder or something out a little piece and made a spot there and just sort of bolted it all together. It's not bad. It did its job for many years. But let's pull this off, and probably, can we stick it on the stand, or should we just start it on the ground? I think we should just start it on the ground just in case. Don't want it to fall over. That's a Harbor Freight's engine stand, so it's going to be safer just to start it on the ground. Alright, let's just unbolt this guy here. These are just little short bolts. Easy to get off. Well, there we go. We can reuse this. Probably better for a lighter engine. It's got a little foot on the front of it, so that's good. See this small stand they made for the front, so we should be able to just put it down on the ground and not wobble around once we try to start it up. That's pretty cool. So starter's on there. We just need to put the flywheel on there and put the distributor in there, and gas and some power, and it should fire right up. Okay, we're gonna slap our flywheel on. If you ever get confused about putting your big block Chevy flywheel, or small block in that case, I think they're both the same, but the pads bump out a little bit. That's the side you want facing out. This is the back side. They bump in on this side, and plus it has a counterweight over there. So bumps go out, and there's a little dowel pin right there, so you get it because it's a weighted balancer. And all that other good stuff. It has a alignment pin, and we forgot our bolts, or we didn't look for them. Let me see. I have a small block over here that still has them in there. Hopefully the small block fits the big block, so let's find out real quick. So the answer is yes, the small block flywheel bolts fit right on the big block. And thank you, Chevy, for being the easiest and most interchangeable engine ever to work on. So we're just going to slide these guys right in here, and these are also SFI rated bolts I got from the speed shop for the other engine, so we're not going to have any problems with them on the big block. Just going to screw that in there and torque them down. With our handy dandy impact torque wrench. Looks good. Probably should try the starter out real quick just to make sure that we have the proper clearance on the flywheel. Now all that we need is our battery that may or may not be charged. I do not know. It came out of our ramp truck, I think. So battery test. Oh, that doesn't look good. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so we got power. We need to ground the block. And then we need to find where our wires go. The wire loom is cut. It's got all these wires sticking out. We know it's one of them. Make sure these wires are hooked up down here. Okay, well, you can't do nothing but spin it or not. So let's start testing wires. This one? Nope. This one? Nope. Nope. Oh, there we got something there. Okay, that's our solenoid kicking out. So we need our main power wire, which we could just move this ground wire over here, so it gives us a little bit longer cables, and come up here and okay, try that again. That battery doesn't have much charge in it, but it turns over the engine pretty good. Yeah, we need to hook up the battery charger. Okay, now we got the battery charger on Hyper Boost, and I forgot which wire it was now. This one? Nope. This one? There we go. Okay, much better. So all that we have to do now is hook up the distributor and then power it. I think we're going to go ahead and let the battery charge up a little bit. Spin that over. Oh, we forgot we need the oil. I got the dipstick up there to remind me. So it's got a little bit of oil. That's no big deal. We can turn it over, but let's find some oil to toss in there. We might have some old oil laying around here somewhere, so that we have enough for when we do it. We do fire it up. I think instead of adding some nice new fresh oil to the old oil, we'll just go ahead and change the oil right now, and that way we won't have to do it later or when we put it in the car. Wow, that does not have a lot of oil in it. Of course, the pan is tilted down, so we'll let that drain out, and then I'm going to reposition this engine, get all that oil out, and then we'll go get some new oil, put in there. Put the oil filter on, and actually I went and bought an oil filter, and we put that on. Now we have some oil. Since we don't have a distributor, it makes it a whole lot easier just to pour the oil straight down the hole. There we go. Shake it around there a little bit. Okay, oil in. I just want to give it a few more turns here. Make sure everything's still cool. Feel a little oil pressure there before we get started. Make sure all the cylinders are cleared out. Now I'm going to go ahead and stick the spark plugs back on in there. Actually in there for the first time. The new ones. There we go. We'll just put these back in there real quick, like. Almost forgot to gap them. Yep. Good enough. Then let's hit the other side. It's so much easier to do when it's not in the car. Okay, we can put our dipstick back now, and yes, I did go back through and tighten them with a ratchet. I just didn't show you that part. Where's the dipstick? Oh, there's the dipstick. Where's the dipstick hole? Where's the dipstick tube? This side, it's on the other side. Yep. Okay, it's looking good. All right, I'm gonna just go ahead and lower this back onto the ground. Make sure we got some clearance here. Is it gonna make it? It's touching the balancer still, even with that brace on the front of it. So I'm gonna have to put a block of wood or something underneath that brace that's already under there. Okay, hopefully this will be high enough to keep the front pulley off of the ground. Maneuvering that around just a little bit, and then drop her back down again. Yeah, way better. Okay, now what we want to do is make some assumptions and assume that this was running and they just took it out of the car and removed the distributor for whatever reason. So I want to bring the timing mark around. Why is that so draggy now? Is it touching the back? Hold on, let's look and see. Is the flywheel touching on the back? No. So why is it doing that? Why is it draggy? Oh, because we put the spark plugs in, stupid. Anyway, so what I want to do is I want to bring that timing mark around to 0, and then we can drop the distributor back in. So yeah, I mean, you put the spark plugs in, and of course it's going to have compression. If it doesn't, you're done something wrong. So let's move that around. Just still seems like it's dragging something. This line. Okay, how about that? Oh yeah, that's better. Now I just passed the line. Okay, across the line. Bring it back. Okay, so we've got it right there. Line on 0. So we can go ahead and drop in our distributor and then hopefully crank it around and see what happens. I'm also going to pull number 1 spark plug back out and make sure that number 1 piston is at the top and, you know, not at the bottom, because that is also important. And yep, it is all the way up there. So we'll set the distributor and give it a turn. Okay, it is time to drop the distributor back in, and I just want to make sure to get this lined up. I don't have a gasket. Remind me to put a gasket on this. It needs to come back out later and go back in again, I guess. So I'm just going to line this up the best I can on that oil pump tube. Well, it goes in like that. Back from the parts store again, and I just got my Duralast spark plug wires, and these are $40 now. So prices have really gone up on this stuff. It's been a long time since I bought any spark plug wires. They definitely weren't $40. Thought paying $25 was a lot back a few years ago. And this box was sitting on a shelf. You can see it's kind of beat up and it had dust on it, so it's probably been there for 10 years. So spark plug wires, apparently they go up in value if you don't use them, and just leave them sit on a shelf in a parts store. So now 1-843-6572. Let's get to it. Now, if we have everything set up right, we should be starting here. I like to start number one right beside the terminals for the battery and where the coil plugs in. 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2. 1-843-6572. Now somebody's cutting grass. How come somebody always is doing something when I'm trying to do something? I mean, how rude is that? How dare they? Anyway, now we need power. So this is our coil wire. It goes in the distributor cap, and we have to provide it power. So let's strip that back, put a lead on it, and then we can hook that up. Okay, we're all plugged into the distributor. Actually, the coil that sits on top of the distributor, because it's an HEI. Just make sure when you do that, put it in the battery side. One says battery, one says tack. You want that in the battery side for obvious reasons. So the alligator clip, I went ahead and put that on so we can just clip it onto our battery, and then we can just use this wire for testing purposes down the road. So I'm going to hook up my jumper cables to the battery and go to my solenoid on my starter down here, and then again we'll find the power wire. Oh, don't forget to ground your engine. That's kind of important. There. Okay, now which one of these was our power? We're low on battery again. Apparently I need to get a fresh battery because I just charged that yesterday. All right, now we need a battery charger. Okay, so I also just noticed I do have a direct battery cable here laying on top of the engine. It's black, it's greasy. For some reason I couldn't see it. So I'm gonna hook that up and maybe it'll transfer a little bit better than these cheap jumper cables I have here. But we still got to worry about the ground. Okay, now let's see if we can get it to turn over a little better now. Oh, it's getting there. Definitely better. Yeah, our ground wire is not good. I need a ground wire. Actually, a ground cable. Okay, I didn't find a ground cable. I took both the positive and negative jumper cables and put them on two different positions on the engine. So maybe now we have a better ground. Yeah, that's definitely better. I'm just gonna let the battery charge a little bit, and then we should be in business to try to start this thing. Okay, we're about ready to give it a try. I've already been filling the float bows here with a little of the good stuff, and I think we're ready. I got to hook up the coil and the main power to the starter. There's that. There's the starter. Okay. Ground. Almost forgot ground. We got two grounds going. One here, back here, one over here, and our starter wire. And I'm going to move out of the way of the exhaust because it's probably going to backfire. I don't think we have any accelerator pump already, but this is going to be our first attempt. If I get the right wire. Okay, try that again. First attempt. All right. turn this up a little bit. Second attempt. Oh, do I have too much timing in it? Man, that is not turning over well at all. I don't have a lockdown for the distributor, so I'm just going to have to hold it. Boy, we were turning over better than that before. Let me double check the grounds again. Oh, that's hot. Yeah, there's our problem. We do not have a good ground. That is so hot. Okay. I'm gonna fix the grounds and I'll be right back. Okay, I managed to find a much better ground, a regular car ground in my truck toolbox. So this should solve that issue. Just gonna put that there. We'll bolt it down probably to the head, and then we'll try it again. All right. Okay, hooked up again. Let's give it another spin and see if she wins. Yeah, definitely too much too much timing that way. Come on. Not happy. Oh, there you go. I must have been adding timing, not taking it away. What is... Okay. Anyway. That fired in that position. Oh. That stopped abruptly. That's a lot of smoke, huh? It's all that Marvel's Mystery Oil that I put in there. Let's give it a little more gasoline. Okay, I gave it a little more gasoline down the old vent tube here, and I poked back the timing just a little bit more. Let's see if she'll go again. Well, I need to lock down that distributor. It started to raise up there. I dug through that box of bolts that we all have, and I found what looks like it might be a distributor lockdown off of something. I don't know if it is or not. It's definitely not for a Chevy, but because Chevy has a sort of a fork thing. I don't know who has that, or even if this is a distributor lockdown, or even if I got it facing the right direction. But as long as it goes in there and holds it into place for a little while, it'll be fine until I go get an actual Chevy hold down. So I'm gonna get this in here real quick, and then we'll try it again. Okay, locked down, good enough for now. Back the timing off. Let's see. She'll fire up again. Should. Accelerator pump does not work. Still off on the timing. Maybe I retarded it too far. Oops. Try it again. Wrong wire, right? Is that the right wire? Something's not happy. Do a little bit more. That clamp came loose that I had just sort of one or two screwed in there. Distributor keeps lifting on it, so throwing it out of whack a little bit there. Just gonna have to go to the store and get the proper tie down for that. I think we should hook some fuel up to it and see if she'll run for a little while. It sounds pretty good, you know, just like that. But definitely gonna have to do something with that carburetor. It does not have any accelerator pump at all. Back from another run to the parts store. No big deal, because doing the roadside assistance stuff that I do, I go out all the time anyway, so I always drive by a parts store. But this time I picked up some line so I could hook up oil pressure gauge so we can monitor and make sure that we have oil pressure this time. And I got a bolt. I couldn't find a Chevy distributor hold down at a parts store. You know, go figure. I guess it's obsolete now. Used to, you could go in a parts store, you could get those parts for a big block Chevy. I did get the wires there, but not so much on the small stuff, I guess. So I'm gonna crank this over again, and let's try to dial in the timing a little by ear and see if we can't get it to fire up. I got a little squirt can here so we can give it a little extra fuel if need be. Okay, I'm not gonna hook up the fuel cell quite yet. I don't have a line for the carburetor, but let's give it a try. Well, turn the jump box back on. Retard the timing a little bit. That timing, just not quite there. Oh, and plug the distributor back in, duh. Sometimes you make stupid mistakes. Now let's try it again. Hope I didn't retard the timing too much. Definitely did not retard the timing too much. More power. Woo, hot. Yeah, that was more power, all right. Well, now what is our issue? Did we smoke the starter? We might have just smoked the starter. Lovely. Let's see. I'm not getting a reading on the battery charger. Why is that? Huh. Okay. Time to diagnose some stuff. Okay, I think we have it figured out now. I mean, this positive cable was the one that was already on the engine, and it's got 20 years of grime on it. So you have to have a real good connection in order to make these things spin over. So let's give that a try. Okay, hopefully that's gonna do it. So let me get my power back on. Come on. Hot, still hot. Still have too much timing in that? Did it skip time? Oh yeah, there we go. It must have, when the distributor come up, it must have jumped over and sat back down or something. I don't know. It was bobbing up and down, and I really had to crank it back this time in order to get it to fire, so it was way advanced. So we are going to have to reset that a little bit. Let's try it one more time. Let me get refueled here. Refueled again. I'm ready to go. Let's just try letting that idle a little bit. It had good oil pressure. I don't know if we ran out of fuel. I wasn't able to give it enough, or if I gave it too much. Try that one more time. Yeah, we're out of fuel. Yep, just out of fuel. Big blocks, they don't run long. Well, we got good oil pressure, so and it sounds good. There's no rod knocking. There's not even any lifter noise, or at least that I can hear with this open exhaust. I say we have a winner here, and we can go ahead and start moving forward with getting this prepped up and ready to go in the Chevelle for a hot rod power tour. But of course, before we go, one last time. That's it. That's all I need. Just one last time, just to hear it rip. Get motivated. Plenty of oil pressure. Sounds great. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Street Rat Garage. Until next time.